Ashamed isn't the right word. He described in a later comment on the thread, "I feel scarred knowing that anyone can find her online and watch her having you-know-what." Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over an article titled, "Man Calls Off Wedding After Friends Find Fiancée's Secret SEX Tape Online." And guys, this article is covering this Reddit story that apparently went viral. So viral enough that an actual online newspaper, online magazine, if you will, did a whole story about this. And essentially, it's about a guy. He was engaged to be married. It doesn't say how long, but obviously he was with the girl for a while. And lo and behold, one day, one of his friends, of all people, informs him that he found online a video of his now fiancée, soon-to-be wife, doing the nasty with another dude. So this video is up there on the internet for the world to see. And let's just say he didn't take it very well and said, "There's no way in hell I'm going to be married to someone that does something like that, let alone that anybody could see up there, including my family, my friend who already found it, maybe kids one day." So he ended the engagement. He broke off the wedding. And as you can imagine, he got a whole lot of heat about that, because now he's considered to be the root of all evil. Everybody's coming at him left and right, not just her and her friends, but people he's never even met. And I think this is a good one to cover because it goes to show you actions have consequences. Unfortunately, we're in an era where nobody seems to want to accept actions have consequences, and also that there are people out there that just won't stand for this type of thing. Some people say it shouldn't be a big deal. It was in the past. It wasn't like she was getting paid for it or something like that. It was with another boyfriend or something like that. But to him, it was a big deal. And that's his business. Problem is, nowadays, everybody has an opinion about everything. And, well, people could say the same thing about me. But I'm just pointing out the craziness of this world. But anyhow, there's other things I like to point out, but I'll get into it as I go through the story. So it starts off, it says, "There's lots of good reasons to call off a wedding." She says, ahem, COVID-19. But a man on Reddit is getting some major pushback after calling off his wedding because he discovered something about his fiancée he wasn't expecting. A graphic SEX tape from a past relationship that has been posted online. So no, she didn't just say your average run-of-the-mill SEX tape. She said a graphic. So you can all use your wildest imagination what was going on in that video. I'm sure there was a whole lot of zooming in on certain body parts and, well, use your imagination. I think we can all agree that being reminded of your fiancé's past relationships is something uncomfortable. And seeing him or her on camera engage in super intimate and or graphic S-word things with said former partner. Yeah, that can be a difficult pill to swallow. Well, it was her swallowing something else that got her into trouble, being on camera and being a video for the world to see. But for this guy, it was just more than uncomfortable. It was a full-on deal breaker. Although the Reddit user didn't get into many details, he admitted the whole thing threw him full of a major emotional loop. He said, ashamed isn't the right word. He described in a later comment on the thread, "I feel scarred knowing that anyone can find her online and watching her have you-know-what." Yeah, exactly. So imagine he has kids with her one day. They get married, have kids. He didn't know about this. And the kids, teenagers, because those rascals are looking for stuff online, happen to see a video. I'm thinking, Mom has that same tattoo on her ankle. Or Mom has that same tattoo on her arm. It's a little different now. A little faded, but that looks a lot like Mom. But that's not Dad there. Deal breaker. He ain't going to have it. He's also having issues dealing with how exactly he found out about it. He says, "I feel betrayed that she didn't tell me until I found out through a friend," he explained. Still, he says he's not sure what to do next. "I do really love her," he continued. "I'm torn." So torn, in fact, that he turned to Reddit to tell him what to do. And boy, did commenters have a lot of opinions on the matter. Oh, yes, they did, and that's how things work online. Some people thought the guy had blown the whole thing out of proportion. One guy says, "I think you're overreacting. I feel like maybe she didn't tell you because she knew you would react this way and not even want to date her knowing. Clearly this is the case since you're calling off the wedding." So they're making him out to be the bad guy, that he's insecure, and she didn't tell you for a reason. Well, you know what? Maybe he would have dated her knowing that she has a video out there online. It would make him question, what else is she not telling me? Or simply, I just don't want to be involved with someone like that. Or I don't want that to come back to embarrass me one day. I mean, think about it from the job point of view, his career. Coworker discovers this. It's an embarrassment, okay? And again, if you're going to do something like this and put it up online, you have to accept that there are going to be some people, if this is a relationship point of view, they're going to be turned off by that. And it doesn't mean that they're jerks or deeply insecure or controlling or some BS label like that, which this guy obviously got. It's just simply not what they want. And there's nothing wrong with that. If the whole world thinks somebody's wrong about a view on something, but that person's gut says this is not right for me, then that's it. That's all that matters. But nowadays, it's easier just to point the finger and insult someone for having standards. Another guy says, this is something in her past, the person added. You should get over it honestly. We're all human and we all do things that aren't always awesome. Is throwing your love away over something in her past worth it? Well, it's one thing if we do minor little things in our past. There isn't one person walking the earth right now or watching this video that hasn't done something or said something they regret when they were younger. Okay. The thing is, when you record yourselves doing a certain act or activities and put up online forever for the world to see that could cause embarrassment towards people, that's a different ballgame, okay? And this is going to impact him forever. It's not what he wants. And if this person, and again, is this person here, the people that comment and say these things and shame guys like this that kick these girls to the curb, I'm going to guess they probably haven't been in that person's shoes before. And I think they react differently if it was them. Or if it was their daughter or son that pulled something like this. Another one says, in fact, plenty of people don't think this is grounds for calling off a wedding and a marriage. Another one says, get over it, dude. One person wrote, who she was then and who she is now are most likely two different people in terms of decision making. If you're willing to give up your seemingly perfect match, then shake the dice and let them roll. Perfect match. There is no perfect match. Okay, there are close to 8 billion people on the planet. Okay, so this doesn't work out. Guess what? There are other women out there. Okay, there are plenty around the world, even in today's world, when they're all quite crazy these days, that he could click with extremely well, be attracted to, have a good time, etc., etc. But she clearly isn't a good match because obviously he found out that she has different values. And I want to point out that she never told him about this, okay? She should have told him from the get-go when they started dating. By the way, back when I was younger, I did something stupid, and my boyfriend and I, we, record ourselves and put up online, and yeah, you can see it. Then at least he'd know. Not have this brought to his attention by a friend that saw his girl, his soon-to-be wife, getting plowed, for him to find out at the last minute. But others sided with the poster, saying they understood how it's more about a cover-up than the thing itself. One person says here, I'm very liberal when it comes to SEX, and I would find it extremely concerning if my partner had refused to disclose something of this nature that she would know would affect how I see her, that one person shared. Your feelings are valid. Thank you. Finally getting somebody with some perspective and some common sense here. There also appears to be a bit more to the story that's complicating matters. Of course there's more to the story that's complicating matters. He says, I'm getting texts and calls from her and her friends about how I'm being, wait for it, misogynistic, how my fragile male ego couldn't handle my fiancé, had been with other people, and that I'm outright DICK for even letting this affect our relationship, the man explained. Isn't it amazing in these stories I go over when the guy stands his ground or kicks these gals to the curb for whatever warranted reason there is, that he always then gets bombarded by not only her, but all her friends about telling how much of a jerk he is or labeling him nasty things, personal attacks. And it's always funny when somebody can't make a good case or argument about something, so they then always resort to personal attacks. Do you ever notice that? Labeling him his fragile male ego or insecure or, my personal favorite, misogynistic for not wanting to be with someone that did this. It's not his thing. End of story. He doesn't want to be married to a woman that has her getting plowed online for the world to see. That's his business. As an adult man, that's his business. It may not be popular. It may not be what most people would do. But it's his own freaking business. Now, some people may say, well, he set himself up to be attacked with comments by posting it online. Fair enough. But she and all her friends bombarding him with all this stuff, that's a different ballgame. So yeah, it's definitely caused some added tension that makes patching things up more complicated, especially during a quarantine. This was a couple of years old. In later comments, the Reddit poster admits he was conservative. He has conservative views about sex, which is part of why he reacted so strongly. Okay, there you go. He's a conservative guy. He thought he was with a certain type of gal, but surprise, they all have skeletons in their closets. And some have Arlington Cemetery worth of skeletons in their closets, especially nowadays. A lot of this comes from his cultural background, he explained, where sex is heavily associated with love and marriage. Okay, we're getting more into his character here. He's conservative. He talks about his culture and background. What may be acceptable in one culture, not going to be acceptable in another culture. It's not a good match. End of story. Better to cut ties now before he got married. Imagine he found this after they got married, right? So it's better now. But ultimately, the biggest issue he has with the whole thing comes from feeling lied to, especially because although his fiancée was not the person who put it online, she knew it was there for years. He says, I would have been less annoyed if she had told me herself when we were initially getting close, he wrote. I respect honesty. I hate the fact that I found out through a friend, which likely means she was willing to wait until after marriage to tell me. Or not tell him at all. It'd be way worse. I mean, silver lining here is he did find this out before the wedding, before they went through, got married, all that. So thank the Lord there. A lot of people had to agree and point out maybe this was a sign the two are incompatible. You think? That fact that she hid it is not a good sign of a lasting relationship, one person wrote. I tell my wife everything. I have many women friends, and I do hug them when I see them. I make sure it's okay with my wife, and they are very close friends. I did many things in the past that are very regrettable, and I made sure she knew everything before I popped the question. She did too. Communication is key, man. Hope everything works out together or not. Yeah, see this guy, he did his things in the past, as we all do, but at least let her know things that could potentially bother her, cause her embarrassment, cause maybe embarrassment for her family, maybe jeopardize her career. So it's all important to lay the cards on the table before you enter in a business deal called marriage, because that's what it is. It's a business deal. It ain't about love, even though all the movies and the romance novels want to sell on love. It's a freaking business deal. Still, several people couldn't help but empathize with the woman who likely hid the truth because of her fear about his reaction. You always get that. Or the stories where she rolled in the hay quite a bit in school with like 300 dudes and kept it quiet from the guy. And then it was always, well, I thought you wouldn't go out with me because of that. Well, yeah. Were you thinking about that when you're rolling in the hay with 300 dudes in college and you had a line out the door, through the dorm, down into the freaking quad of guys holding a number to plow me? Yeah, your typical guy's not going to want to be with a gal like that. But if you have any integrity, you tell the truth, you lay it out. It finishes saying, with one last comment, someone says here, I was in a PORN that leaked in my hometown, one woman wrote. Of course, it's a woman. Luckily, I told my fiancé, and he was not happy, but glad I told. Regardless, I feel for this girl. I'm so much different now, and she probably is too. It was a stupid thing to do, and it seems like she was ashamed and scared to tell you. Sad. Hey, you never know. Maybe she was ashamed, or maybe she was being diabolical. I don't know what. Point is, she should have told. And also the fact that maybe she is different now. Who the hell knows? My experience in life, and also doing countless stories like this for the last 2.5 years, shows me that most people do not change regardless. A leopard doesn't change the spots. But let's just say for argument's sake she did change. Well, regardless, that's still up there for the world to see, and it's not for him, it's not his cup of tea, so it's best they part ways in the story. And again, at least they didn't get married and then he found this. It could have been way worse of a situation. So, alright guys, that is it for today. I thought it'd be a pretty entertaining one to cover. Be sure to comment down below, let me know what you think about this. Let's hear it. Do you guys think that he overreacted? Like it seems like she wasn't getting paid for this, like it wasn't on there a job. It's just that she was having relations with the ex, put up there online, and, well, didn't tell him about it, and his friend found it. Is this guy overreacting by kicking her to the curb, or is he, in your opinion, right? I like to hear about that. I think he's doing it right because for him, it's not right. It doesn't feel right for him. He's trusting his gut. He's a conservative guy. It's not what he wants, but everybody has opinion nowadays, so I'm sharing mine, and you guys can share yours. So let's hear your opinion on this particular subject. And guys, also, you got a good story you'd like to share with me, a crazy type of story you found online, by all means, email me the link at strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Or if you got a crazy story or a good story that's warranted for this channel or my other channel, email it to me, and I'll definitely cover it later on down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.